All righty, moving on to the next team that we're going to talk about. This actually is going to come from Dunk Central, and we're going to kind of bleed into it. And that's Jeannie Buss reveals the harsh reality of Laker fans. They don't like to be patient. And if you guys have ever stepped foot on Twitter, and Brad, you can attest to this 1,000 times. The Laker fans on Twitter are insane nutsos. Um,
Hmm.
and every time that, whether it's Anthony Davis or LeBron James or any of their players don't play well, they go into like a panic. Like they think the end of the world is coming. I've never, maybe Dallas Cowboy fans are close, but it seems like Laker fans are kind of top notch when it comes to that. And as you guys know, we're talking about the LA Lakers and kind of what they've been going through so far. If we look at their schedule just from the last week, they've won a couple games. They lost at Sacramento, and when as soon as they had that loss at Sacramento, everyone thought the world was over. People were going crazy. They were going insane. But then the Portland Trailblazer game happened where they just dominated and LeBron carried in that game, and then all of a sudden they're winning the championship again. So it's a roller coaster of emotions for LA Laker fans. But more specifically, we need to talk about the team a little bit and kind of the struggles that a guy like Austin Reeves has been going through, and really just Darvin Ham in general. So one of you guys take it away and walk me through this Lakers team, because they are a confusing bunch sometimes when it comes to the way that they play, rotation stuff. Someone take it away.
I got you. Yeah, as the resident Laker watcher, this team, I don't even know where to start, but I'll start with their defense. Their defense against the Kings was like, people are freaking out after that game, like, oh my God, Sabonis and Fox destroyed us. But that's how
Yeah.
Sabonis and Fox operate, like, offensively. Is it's kind of like a pseudo Jamal Murray Jokic thing. You have to be able to cut off one of them, and the Lakers don't have the personnel to cut off either at the moment.
Hmm.
AD can't guard bigger, stronger centers. We know this. We have like a huge sample size of seeing this. He can't guard Jokic. He can't guard Sabonis. He can't guard Jonas Valanciunas. Like he can't.
Yeah.
Nurkic. He's in the post. He just can't guard those
Hmm.
bigger players. So Sabonis had himself a night, and then Fox. Like, if we go up and down that Laker roster, who is supposed to try and guard De'Aaron Fox?
There's nobody.
Nobody. So of
That's
course they
tough.
both went off, and of course we lost because they have a high-powered offense and they have an identity, which is their high-powered offense. The Lakers don't have an identity. They kind of just like, LeBron, we need a 30-point triple-double from you. AD, we need you to block 8 shots, and then wherever else people get in, they can fit in. So my personal take is that this team really, really, really misses Vando and the energy that he brings.
Hmm.
And he's their best point of attack defender. You put him on De'Aaron Fox, you're able to not cut him off, but like mitigate some of the damage he does by having Vando chase him and guard him. And then that would like kind of turn off the King's water just a little bit. So just
Yeah,
for, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna say I totally agree on Vando. I think he's the missing piece people are just completely ignoring about this team, like the thing that's different from last season. Like he is easily the best defender on this team, not named Anthony Davis. And honestly, I don't
Mhm.
even think he's that far behind Anthony Davis. Just in terms like what he doesn't he might not hit the peaks of defensive, just like masterness. That's not a word, but I'm going to go with it. Masterfulness that Anthony Davis hits, but he's more consistent defensively than Anthony Davis is, in my opinion. Like just in terms of a night to night basis, the effort he puts in, you
Mhm.
know what you're getting from Vanderbilt. And I got clowned on this podcast last year when I said at the trade deadline, Vando was like the best addition for almost any team in the league for the Lakers, just because he really is in terms of what he brings, the versatility. He's kind of, in a sense, and this is maybe a stretch because I don't think he's as good as this guy, but I don't think it's as far off as people think it is. The reason why I think Vanderbilt was expendable for Minnesota a couple of years ago was because they have McDaniels, but they're really very similar players. Like Jaden McDaniels and Vanderbilt are not they're not that far off. Vanderbilt really is like the best, like he would be the guy that's going to take on the best offensive player for the Lakers most nights on defense. So I I agree with you in that sense, Brad. Like they need him desperately. Like it's not even a question. Their rotations are so bad.
And I
Um,
think like with him, he's the one that sets their identity because good
Yes.
defenders amplify good defenders. Like right now, the Lakers are just floating around. They don't have offense will never be their identity. When they won the championship, their identity was defense and being bigger than everybody. Vando fits those two things. He's a defensive hustle guy and he's huge. He's like 6'9". So
Yep.
you put Vando in, and all of a sudden AD is playing even better defense in the back line because Vando is making it hard up front. And then all of a sudden you put in Cam Reddish, who's also playing great defense. Now LeBron looks like a better defender and it can pick his spots to play defense. And then you can cover for D'Lo, and he can also like pick his spots. So that is what I think they need is Vando's defense. We saw it with the Pelicans. I don't know if you guys have watched them and seen them, but like Herb Jones was out and injured. He comes back, and all of a sudden they're a defensive nightmare. Guys like that matter who set the tones for teams.
They really do. They really do. Like, there's a reason why, like, the Warriors desperately do not want Draymond not there. Like,
Exactly.
that's a nightmare for the Warriors. Draymond is the defense. And in a lot of sense, like, Vanderbilt, like you're saying, he's one of the more underrated. Like, he is the defense for this team. He sets the tone for everybody. And I totally agree. I think him not being there really just screws up their rotations. And whether or not, as you like to call him, Brad, Darvin Turkey would get the rotations correct regardless, I'm not sure. I honestly don't think he's a very good coach. I hate to be that guy. But I see so many bad choices so frequently. Like, I just don't, I genuinely, I know I keep saying I just hate their rotations. It's like, there's so many times that I see like Christian Wood out there with D'Lo, and it's like, what is going on? Like, these two guys cannot be out there. Like, they can't be out there together. I don't get it. Like, Austin Reeves has been completely broken of any flow that he had in him. Like, any level of consistency Austin Reeves had is wiped off the face of the earth because he just doesn't have a consistent flow of anything to do with that team. Like, they're constantly changing things. And like, I like Taurean Prince, but there's no reason he should be getting 30 minutes. I don't know, man. There's like, how is Taurean Prince getting 30 minutes and Rui's getting 20? Like, what even is that? What's the idea behind that?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I really think that he leans into being a player coach too much. Like, I don't think he's a bad coach, like in the sense of like, I don't know, Jason Kidd maybe, but like
Definitely.
I just think he's too much of a player's coach, and he empowers all his guys just a little too much. Like, you want to empower your guys, but at the same time, not everybody at the table can eat. You got to define rules.
Yeah. You have to. You actually have to. And especially on teams where you have, and this was something I said to you guys coming into this season, like, this is a team that might have too many guys. Like, that kind of goes over people's head in the NBA nowadays. Like, there really is a level of having too many guys on your roster that really should be getting minutes that actually impacts the overall just way that your team is organized. Like, you can have so much that nobody can get consistency in their minutes or when they're expected to do certain things. Like, for as good as D'Lo has been relative to him in particular, like, I think he's literally averaging. Let me see if I can pull this back up. I just had it a second ago. D'Lo,
18 points, or you're talking?
His field goal percentage is 48.1%, right? Which, for, in my opinion, a guy that's pretty inefficient, that's not bad for him. And he's only averaging 1.9 turnovers a game. That's not bad for D'Lo, but he's still D'Lo. Like, he's still D'Lo. Like, this guy, I don't know, man. Like, you got to get guys like that off this team. It's just not it. I would rather have Reeves out there not playing good and just try and get him back to what he was last season. You saw the best version of what you had last year with Reeves out on the court. Taking steps back now is just, it's a recipe for disaster the longer this season goes on.
Yeah. I mean, the other question I had too, thinking about this roster, like you said, Pete, it might be too much, is like, when Gabe Vincent comes back from his injury, like where does he fit in the rotation? Because so far in the 4 games, he hasn't played that great.
Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of looking
Brad,
into that.
I was gonna say the same thing. He is like 2023 Kendrick Nunn.
We need to stop dealing with the Heat. Don't touch their players.
Don't touch their players.
I still have faith that that one's going to turn around. Personally, I like Gabe Vincent quite a
Strus is
bit.
looking pretty good, man.
Dude,
He is looking pretty. Yeah.
Strudel, Max Strudel.
Yeah, but I think the frustrating thing for me looking at this team, even watching it, I'm not, as active watching as I would like to be, just due to my season starting. But for the games that I can watch, like I think it's just frustrating to me that a guy like Rui Hachimura, and that's my guy, and I'll defend him, and I'll be the stan propaganda, whatever you want to call it. He obviously had that eye injury. It was a freak accident. And then as soon as he comes back, it just feels like he's been out of the rotation. But I feel like he does a lot of things on the offensive end, especially more so on the offensive end, the defensive end. But I just want to talk about the offensive end more. Like he has such a skill set that Darvin Ham can use, that I think LeBron would enjoy, that Anthony Davis would enjoy, and the fact that he's kind of still what it feels like to me in the same position, the same role that he's been in. Even last year, excluding the playoffs, because the playoffs I felt like he had a bigger role. And it feels like he's kind of reverted back into this role of like, we like you, but yeah, you're not. We like you only like for a little bit, and we don't want you to play the whole time. When I feel like Rui Hachimura could be a net positive for this team if he's out there. Like his catch, he was one of the best catch and shoot guys in the league last year for the Lakers. He's still a pretty good catch and shoot guy. He has that mid-range package that I do appreciate. So if like LeBron James gives it to him with like 5 seconds left, he has the ability to go to the rim or kind of play in that mid-range and do something there. But it's just, to me, it's frustrating that he's not getting those minutes that I would enjoy him having. And then on the other side, we have Austin Reeves, who, like you said, Pete, he is struggling big time. And I guess the question is that I want to ask both of you is like, has Austin Reeves been figured out, or is he just tired legs because he's been playing so long?
Yeah, I think that's a combination of both. I think teams are game planning for him now, and so you're seeing him get better defenders put on him, and he's on the scouting report. They know his tendencies, and then on the flip side, I think he's kind of just like, I don't want to say he's gotten worse, but maybe it's like what Pete said. He can't build consistency with his minutes, but he just doesn't look very good. He's kind of been food on defense. He plays with the ball too much on offense, and then it looks like he doesn't have his legs under him. A lot of his shots are short. Like I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah. He's just completely out of the flow of the team. Like there's literally it honestly doesn't look like he played with this team last season. Like it's that bad. Like to me, I don't know, man. Maybe it's me just being a little bit biased for Reeves. I honestly don't feel like I am. Like I don't really root for the Lakers. I love LeBron. Reeves, it's as simple as this. I mean, watch
you do
that
have him on
guy.
your fantasy team, but
but even then, I don't know. In the league, I care about less. To be fair, in my defense.
Fair.
What I was gonna say is this. Like I said earlier, this team, we saw this version of this Lakers team play the best basketball they have played with Austin Reeves as their third best guy. All right. I just think that from everything I have seen, he is a guy who plays winning basketball when he is put in a position to do so. Right. And so far it has not gone that well this season for him. But I really, truly think it's super hard to be that kind of guy in the NBA when you have 5 other dudes playing your position, getting just as many minutes as you on your own team. Like I just think that's poor coaching more than anything else. I just think that you have to put your guys in a place to feel empowered to do what they do normally. Like Reeves wasn't necessarily like dynamite the whole way through for the FIBA tournament, but he was way better than what we're seeing now. There was a reason he was there and not D'Lo. There was a very clear reason why that was the case. What happened to that? Why is D'Lo like? I don't know, man. It just doesn't make any sense to me to have killed this kid's confidence so much. Like the thing that made him who he was the chip on his shoulder, right? Yeah. It feels like he has been completely taken out of the place where he could even have that by his own organization. And I just think that that's terrible, man, because really signing D'Lo for this team amounted to having trade bait in the long run, right? But you're basically sacrificing the guys you want to keep for the sake of long-term trade assets when really, like, D'Lo is a net negative, in my opinion. Regardless of if he's doing okay now, he is a net negative when it comes to winning actual big games in the NBA. Yeah, man, I don't know. I guess it does sound like I'm just sitting here like Rui is Bernie's guy and Reeves is mine, but I just ultimately think it does have to come on to the coaches and the management when you have this many guys swimming in a limited pool of minutes and you're killing guys who were lifting you up to the highest levels you've been for the sake of guys you want to trade later. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Unless you're a bad team, but they're not trying to be a bad team. They're trying to win the championship. So get your guys in all the best spots now and let them work out the kinks in the long run. It's not like D'Lo is going to be starting for them in the Western Conference Finals. That's not happening. I mean, maybe it will, but I would be shocked.
No, he's going to be gone. D'Lo
exactly.
Will be gone. But like,
exactly. So what's the point?
Here's where I'm going to defend Darvin Turkey. So I hear you, and a lot of what you said is correct. But in regards to Reeves' confidence, I think that's why they moved him to the bench as the sixth man, because now he can operate with the second unit and, feel like Austin instead of having to play behind D'Lo and play behind Bron, yada, yada. So now he's able to, be the guy in the second unit. And also he closes games over D'Lo. Like, Ham still goes with Reeves over D'Lo. D'Lo never closes games. If it's a close game, Austin is out there all the time.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. Seriously, because D'Lo plays CTE basketball. So
yes.
I think
one of the number one CTE basketball players.
Very true. So I think his confidence, it's probably not where as high as it should be, but I don't think it's rock bottom. And I think Darvin's trying to do his best to mitigate having his confidence in a good enough spot to where he feels like he's Austin, but also we do need D'Lo out there and we do need his trade value up because the Lakers in the past, couple of years have had terrible asset management. So I feel like this is just them trying to, be smart about their assets and actually do something with them. Because if you put D'Lo to the bench, he has less value.
It does kill his value. Yeah, no, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, and Austin is your guy, and he's going to be there. So it sucks for Austin, and he deserves better for sure. But at least he knows he's the guy. He knows he's going to be a Laker longer than D'Lo will be. D'Lo is definitely going to be gone. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I again, like, I totally see the vision. Like, I get what the point of it is, right? And I just do think it ultimately comes down to Pelinka got too many guys on this roster. Really. And I know I sound like a broken record with that, but because this team, like, let's talk about it like this. If they were fully healthy with everybody they have, what do we think is their actual five, their best five that they would run into like a big game? Right? It's clearly LeBron and AD. It's not even a question.
Yep.
I think we all agree
Reeves would be out there.
The third one.
Yeah.
It's definitely Vanderbilt. I think, Brad, you and I are full agreement on that. Bernie, I think
need him.
Probably not far. It's got to be Vanderbilt is the fourth, right? And then who is their fifth? I don't even know who their fifth guy is.
It's whoever they trade for. It's Caruso.
It probably is. It should be Caruso.
It needs to be an athletic guard.
Imagine that team, though. Imagine that team with Caruso. You throw... Because then all your two weakest defenders by a country mile are LeBron and Reeves at that point, right? Yeah. But if you have Vanderbilt and Caruso out there, that covers a lot of problems on the defensive side of the ball. And AD is your rim protector. That would probably be one of the better defending teams in the NBA. So, ultimately when it comes down to it, they got to get rid of the Reeves. They have to get rid of the D'Angelo Russells of the world. No offense to Taurean Prince. I do think he's been all right as far as like an older vet for them off the bench. Even starting some games for Taurean Prince too. And dude, Cam Reddish, I'm gonna give him a round of applause. Like, he's been very solid for them with the injuries they've been going through. But I don't know, man. I watched it close up. The guy has minutes, but he has minutes where he can put it all together. But it's very inconsistent from Cam Reddish. Like, I just don't think he's the answer for them either. Like, as a bench guy, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. But he can't be in their starting five. I'm sorry, it's just not consistent enough to get them where they want to go. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Bernie, what do you think? Would you be in agreement with that five? What would you do if you were them with that fifth spot? Rui, just throw him in there.
Yeah, I'm putting Rui in there. Let him cook.
Is that like, to me, he's a perfect 6-man for this team. Like, that is the kind of guy, like, get a big body off the bench who can do a lot of things. He actually can dribble a little bit. I don't know. But I would, going back to the Bulls, I do think DeRozan, Caruso, like, they could get both of those guys. That is a nice package for this team to get in return. Because Caruso would slot right into the starting 5, and DeRozan would actually be like a perfect 6-man at this stage in his career.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting situation for the LA Lakers as they continue to move forward. 7-6 on the season as of right now, 7th in the West. We know that's going to improve, no doubt about it. But let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the LA Lakers? Do you agree with what we talked about with guys like Austin Reeves, with Rui, with Taurean Prince in terms of his role? Gabe Vincent. Are you still a believer in him? We'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below.